The views and opinions expressed on this station do not reflect the owners, management, staff, clients, or partners. Medical House presents Bermuda's most viewed and listened to talk show. The Daily Hour starts now.
It's Monday, the 12th day of October. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House and Lindo's. I'm Chavelle Hartman, along with Carla Zool, soon to be, and Jackie Lambert. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you haven't already, you know what I'm going to say. Share the link, start a watch party, just get the conversation out there to your network. Today we're gonna have a discussion. Or we're going to discuss the recent appeal by the Bermuda Police Service regarding missing mother, daughter, and friend Chavelle Dillon-Burgess. The Daily Play is a Who Said It, so my dear friends will be guessing a famous quote. So we're going to have a different kind of show today, and hopefully Carla can join us. I'm not going to throw her under the bus and see what the situation is, but she developed some robotic powers overnight, folks. Let's see. Carla, you there?
No.
She's no longer a robot, folks. She's no longer a robot. But I must say something before we even jump into the conversation. Jackie, I think Carla's trying to throw shade at you with those Lakers colors on. I know y'all Miami Heat fans.
You know what? She can't do that.
I didn't even know they played.
Why are we not surprised?
Because you guys not being fair. I'm in the UK, so the time difference is vast. So when you all are shouting at the TV, I'm in my full 100 mood. So
oh my goodness, here she goes.
But she looks at my statuses. So how do you not keep up?
So
in the morning, I don't know. You're always saying like jump. I'm screaming. What an idiot. I'm like, okay.
No, but I had Jimmy Butler. And I had the Heat versus Lakers.
She
maybe you haven't looked at it.
Look, she doesn't know who.
I don't know who Jimmy is.
The last basketball player I knew was like Jalen Rose and Chris Webber. Woo, dreamy. That's it.
My goodness. Yeah, Carla. It's a ball and they put it in a hoop. That's the game.
I was an all-star Work Academy basketball player.
My apologies.
I understand the game. It's just, you know what? Once they started making all that money, I just fell off of the game. I was just like, you can have passion when you're making $100 billion. So,
yes, you can. You can be passionate about that money.
Yes, okay, I'll have passion for $100 billion, but no,
right?
To the Lakers on that championship, and
people
in South Florida. We'll get to party again soon, but well deserved to the Lakers blowout. And after Friday's game, you thought that tonight, the Heat might have had a chance if they got through last night's game. But that said, I want to talk about a Bermudian sporting legend and hero, Clyde Best. Clyde Best is a legend, right? I've had the opportunity to bump into him when I was coaching youth football at North Village, but never had a conversation with Mr. Best. But I think it's important to discuss Mr. Best before we get to the Daily Focus a bit later and Chavelle Dillon-Burgess, because one of the things that's often said is that we in Bermuda, we don't celebrate and honor our heroes and our legends, and they're celebrated more outside of Bermuda. And it seems to be the case with Mr. Best. So I just want to get feedback from the audience as to, is this true? Do we not celebrate Bermudians and our heroes and our legends? Is this true, or is it just something that people love to say? What do you think, Jackie? Like, did you learn about Clyde Best? Because I'm going to be honest, the first time I was a mentor at in is it YouthNet?
Usenet.
I was a mentor in YouthNet, and I was actually excited that my mentee was doing a paper on Clyde Bass, and I learned at the same time a lot of stuff, right? How he was a pioneer for black players, not Bermudians or in the video how they referred to him as West Indian player, but as a Bermudian. He done so much for black players, period. You know. But Jackie, talk to us about your generation per se. What it was
Oh,
like.
I can only speak for myself. I grew up really learning about my sports legends. So you had, I mean, like I just grew up around tennis, so I really only knew my tennis legends. You had, I mean, my dad, his people, Mr. Simmons, and of course I knew everybody by the last name, but it's hard. I'm like, I don't remember people's first names. We had Alan Simmons and my dad's coaches and stuff like that, but I don't really know anything about.
Yeah, Carla, what you got?
Actually, he to this day is a very, very good friend of my father's. And when I was special sections editor at the Daily, they used to have the Black History Month. And I was like, let's do something different. Instead of doing the overseas ones, let's do Bermuda ones. And he was one of them whom I selected. And I went and I interviewed him. And I was just like, wow, you know, at that point, I was probably in my 30s. And back then, everything was Sean Goda. But I think some people may not realize before there was a Sean Goda, there was a Clyde Best. And he's a very delightful man. And I saw the BBC clip that's going around, the honor of him, because Black History Month out here in the UK is in October. And it actually kind of brought me to tears to think that happened so many years ago, to hear people say, he said every time he touched the bowl, they'd make monkey noises. And to think that in 2020, the probably only reason why it doesn't happen now is because of COVID. It's really deep, you know. So he's definitely. I know they have Clyde Bass Way, is it, or the building up there by the BFA building, but I think he should be honored if there's a even more and even more.
I know that some years ago, well, it's not even years ago. People still say that Bermuda has not celebrated. Is it Clarence Hill, the boxer?
Yes.
For years, people have saying, you know, we have never celebrated Clarence Hill, our only Olympic medalist in boxing, and you know, the same can be said for Clyde Bass. Now, I don't want to buy into that narrative. I want to believe that it's been an oversight, and I want to see this as an opportunity for people like us in this space to use this platform, which is why I felt the need to have this conversation this morning, so that. Because you're right, Carla. Coming from where we come from, Sean Goda was a neighbor. I remember going down the hill when Andrew, the Bascom boys, lived in the Emery house down there and kicking ball with them in the yard. So I always knew of Sean Goda from North Village and so on. Clyde Bass, I learned at a later age, but still didn't know until I was in YouthNet mentoring how much he endured from a racist perspective in England. And I think he played a role in a game that many, when you look at the English national team, there's a lot of black players. And to know that he was a pioneer for that, it has to be celebrated. It has to be honored. And I think Rashida Godwin actually said this right here. His story needs to be a movie and documentary. And I agree.
Yes. That's how I learned about Pele, you know. I mean, growing up again, always heard about Pele. It wasn't until I saw the documentary where I really got a deeper appreciation for who Pele was. So I totally agree with Rashida. I was gonna say something else. I know, like, I don't know what the criteria is, but maybe throwing it out there for the committee, national hero for next year instead of all these political figures. Why not look at these sports figures?
I would agree. I would agree. Yeah, he I mean, it would make sense to me. Terry Too Cool says, yeah, they have the CBCOE, Clyde Bass Excellence, Center of Excellence, BFA building. Tariq Shakir, it is true. We tend to overlook our local sports heroes. It's only recently we start to highlight our local athletes more. Excuse me. James A. Howard says, hey, Uncle Jimmy. Wasn't there supposed to be a boxing facility in St. George's for Clarence Hill? That has not happened. Yes, I do remember talk about that. Glenn Chase, Carla.
Bunny Bess was a trailblazer, yet the colonial monarchical titles, in my opinions, are outdated. The empire no longer exists.
I want to touch on that. And I feel strongly about this for some reason. People could do what they want. You can accept whatever title you want, but I am actually in agreement with him. I don't think being called sir or OB, to me, that wouldn't be just as in terms of what he went through. It wouldn't be just, in my opinion. I'd take a statue and a, golden name or some sort of even compensation. But I don't know how I feel about the little sir this and was it
title?
Called name? Yeah, all those titles. We're living in a new age, and I actually see more respect in people who actually reject those titles than accept them. But that's just my personal. I'm not saying that people should reject them. Let me be clear. I'm saying if for me,
it's your vibe, right?
Yeah, I'm not down for that. That would not add to his legacy for me.
But he's so young in the grand scheme of things. I think that one thing in the education system, we tend to not give our children learning opportunities until we're talking about a memory or a late person. This is where, because I said it about, we were talking about the voting. Let's put more stuff like this in our schools. It should be a part of the PE curriculum. Who are your local sporting heroes? Because if not, it just increases the generation gap when him and, others like him have done so much and put tiny little Bermuda on an international map.
You just gave me an idea. Headley and Stevens says, I am thankful Mr. Bass is being recognized while he's still alive. I agree. But you just gave me an idea. And I'm not quite sure, although I did say that we probably need a civics lesson of Bermuda politics on this show, because the amount of loud voices that speak sometimes in Bermuda related to politics that literally don't understand the simplest thing, it's quite fascinating to me. But that said, in the U.S., there's these ballots when an election comes. Like there'll be something like, do you think we should legalize casino gaming or marijuana or stuff like that? And I wonder if the national hero thing should be put on the ballot. Like there's people nominated, like Clyde Bass and Clarence Hill and different, not just athletes, but even musicians or Everest Acosta or Montague Shepard, who's a legend in media. Mr. Place, the Bermuda Recorder. Like, I wonder if it should be put out on the ballot when an election happens. Do you believe that such and such should be recognized as a national hero? Again, I'm not sure how the process works, but I think that should be something that we can consider. Yeah. Let's see. Quinell Francis says Clarence Hill has a boxing place at the center on Engle Street. The St. George's place didn't happen. Terry Too Cool, help me with the civics, bro. I don't want to call anyone out, but like I said, folks, I am fascinated because I don't know it all. I have learned a lot, and I've said it before that I learned a lot being around the PLP in the 2000s. I learned a lot being around people like Glenn Blakeney and Nelson Bowson. And so being in the delegates conferences and so on, you kind of get an understanding of policy versus legislation. Even from my former colleague, Teo Dill, who was a senator, learned a lot. So when I see people say things out loud politically and they're wrong, it's like, do I say something to them on their posts or do I send them a slight message? And then you figure like, but this person is a loud voice that's trusted on social media. And it's, I don't know, man. It's, you sit back and you're just like, nah, the accuracy of this, it's not good.
I think one should correct it. It's just how you do it. Because if a voice is loud and can resonate, then that's the potential for that untruth or misconception to resonate. So the truth or the fact should as equally be able to get out there.
Yeah, I think the best way to go about correcting them is like DMing them, because if they're loud, strong, and wrong, they're going to probably be embarrassed if you put on a post. So if you discreetly deal with it, they can discreetly change it.
You all
Oh,
thought,
that's a nice one, Jackie. Nah.
yeah. I'm like Jackie acting like she don't know who she's here with. You know what I'm saying?
I was just trying to help because you know Twitter turns into a war real quick.
Now, Twitter can be very unstable at times.
I mean, Facebook too, depending on the demographic you're talking to.
Yeah, the
I can
face,
turn it to
what they call it, the Facebook aunties. That's what they call it. All right, let's go to the news. Let's go through a few more comments before we get to the news. Jackie, Sonia's got something for you.
As a country, we've been forced to learn and develop through the narrative of the RG. Folk can be open to more now that social media take on more platforms. Thank God for this type of service. Take it to the next level. Daily Hour.
All righty. James Burt says, yes, put them on the ballot. More people would come out to vote as well. There we go, James. That's I love it, James. That's a way to get people out. Put the heroes in front of them, make them responsible for it. Jody Eve says, Clyde Bass also had the book out called The Acid Test. Every Bermudian footballer, no matter what age, should read and have in their arsenal. The acid test. Robert Thorne says, Johnny Barnes has a statue for waving at people, so I don't understand how Clarence Hill or Clyde Bass don't have one. There we go. On that note, let's go to the news, see what Carla's got for us. Don't forget, folks, we're gonna after we come back, we're gonna talk about the Chavelle Dillon-Burgess case. We're gonna we want to help a family, her friends, but also the community at large. So we want to please share this link. Let's get the conversation going. It's time to bring some sort of not necessarily closure, but we need answers. All right. Progress indeed. Oops.
Last week, Premier David Burke's appointment of Rolf Commission as Minister of Community Affairs and Sport and Senate leader caused ire across the island. Members of the Bermudian community were outraged, especially women who felt that the appointment was a proverbial slap in the face. However, in a sudden turn, Mr. Commission resigned on Saturday, with his letter of resignation being made public by Mr. Burke, saying, I apologize for not being completely honest and forthright to a question asked prior to my appointment, and I'm sorry that my appointment has become a burden to the government, end quote. With October 11th marking 6 months since missing mother of one, Chavelle Dillon-Burgess, has been heard from, Commissioner of Police Stephen Corbishley once again appealed for anyone with helpful information to come forward. Quote, it's been 6 months since Chavelle was last seen, 6 months since her son was held by his mother. Imagine how he must feel. Bermuda is an extremely close-knit community where we usually would look out for each other. That's why it's so baffling that even with a reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to the location of Chavelle, still nothing. The Bermuda Police Service is thankful to those members of the public who have been providing Lead Detective Sergeant Jason Smith and his team with assistance. It's been most helpful. But there's someone out there who ultimately knows exactly where Chavelle is, and we are once again appealing for you to come forward. Do not let her legacy to her son be that she one day simply vanished, never again to be seen, end quote. In international news, there were calls for the inquest into the death of transport worker Belly Mujinga, who died after reportedly being coughed and spat on by a passenger who said he had the coronavirus. BBC Panorama examined events leading up to the death of the 47-year-old who died in April this year from COVID-19. Police investigated Belly's death, but they concluded there wasn't enough evidence to charge anyone. But lawyers say an inquest can help her family find answers. Barrister Christopher Williams told Panorama, if the family of Belly want to pursue an inquest, then that is a way of getting justice. It must be that the outcome of the inquest won't just give them the result they seek, but the important thing is that they have the opportunity to go through the process. Throughout the world, millions of people are affected by arthritis, their lives being changed by the sometimes constant pain of inflamed joints. World Arthritis Day is a day to remember and raise awareness of this condition and how it affects the lives of those who are afflicted with it. World Arthritis Day is a great time to get out and lend a helping hand to those suffering from this condition. If you know someone with arthritis, take a day to go over and help them out with things that are made difficult for them because of their condition. Turning to weather with a mix of sun and clouds, the high today in Bermuda is expected to reach 80, 63 in Washington, D.C., and 55 in London, UK. Don't forget, Medical House is your #1 source of PPE supplies, masks, face shields, disinfectants, sanitizers, gloves, gowns, no-touch thermometers, and so much more at the lowest prices. Visit Medical House today at 22 Millreach Lane in Pembroke. And on a programming note, it's Reggae Mondays all day on the 4100 radio. Don't miss the mix with Juggle and Jason from noon to 3 p.m. Bermuda time. That's your daily hour news break.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Carla. I'm sorry. It happened. It's Mondays. Doesn't everyone love Mondays? I'm happy. So we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll come back with what I deem a very important conversation to continue on what Carla mentioned in her news break just now. We have Chavelle Dillon-Burgess and the plea from the Bermuda Police Service via the Commissioner Corbishley. All right, be right back.
Good day, Medical House, Doris speaking. Can I help you?
Medical House is Bermuda's leading one-stop shop for healthcare.
Medical House is a great resource for Lefroy. The service is excellent.
Medical House is best known for its uniforms and footwear. It has hundreds of styles of scrubs and nurses' uniforms for health professionals. Bermuda's top doctors, dentists, care homes, and the hospital choose Medical House for a wide range of products. These same professional quality products are available to you for home health care.
The biggest reason to come see us is that we specialize in these areas and the education and knowledge that we provide.
Medical House is on Millreach Lane in Pembroke, where there's private parking right outside the door. Call or visit Medical House today.
This month, we're featuring Evian Natural Spring Water, brought to us by John Barrett & Son. Evian water is among the best-known bottled mineral waters on the market and was one of the first, originating at sources on the south shore of Lake Geneva almost 2 centuries ago. It's good to know also that Evian has instituted extensive water management projects on 3 continents, working as the Evian Water Protection Institute to help address one of the world's major ongoing issues: access to safe, abundant water for all. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Welcome back to the big show. It's the Daily Hour. Carla Zul, Jackie Lambert, myself, Jamel Hartman. Thanks again to Lindo's and Medical House, making sure we're able to do this with you on a regular basis. I don't know why I'm arguing back and forth with someone I don't know on Twitter right now, but I'm just saying, like I say, I'm not going to argue with people on social media, right? Because I have a mic that I'm going to use, or I can use, but it's just like, it's not my responsibility on how you take whatever post I'm making. Like, I owe you nothing with what I post. Let's keep that clear. No one owes me anything with what they post. If you choose to take something based on whatever, that's on you or that's on me if I choose to take your posting away. But at no point does anyone owe me an explanation, and I don't owe you a damn thing. So, yeah, that's on that.
Wait. Are you arguing on, like, you made the original post? Yes, I made the original post.
But I don't want to get sidetracked. I don't want to. We'll talk about it. Yeah, it's people are just people. But no, on a serious note, and I think it's longer. Shout out to Channel 82, Crimson Multimedia, and Lamerne. I just want to say Lamerne's actually going to be joining us. Lamerne Woods from Channel 82 will be joining us this week, Wednesday. We're going to be talking about the importance of Black media. He'll be joining us. Dr. Lou Matthews is joining us tomorrow morning. We'll be talking about the state of education. So make sure you tune in. Both important shows in terms of what we're doing. So if you aren't able to be at home and watch us on Channel 82, you know that you can find us across social media on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and of course YouTube, and our websites, thedailyhour.com and the full100radio.com. You can also listen in. A lot more people have been listening in as of late. Listening in as of late on the Full 100 radio station. So thanks again to everyone who continues to support us. We thank you. We really do appreciate you. Now let's get to the conversation. Carla, you mentioned that the Commissioner Corbishley and the Bermuda Police Service on Friday put out another appeal for missing mother Chavelle Dillon-Burgess. I really want to get the feedback from the audience as much as from you two both ladies as a part of this show. But as you know, a young person, Jackie, if you don't mind, you're 32. How does it make you feel that someone is missing and it just seems like there's not been enough there haven't been enough conversations as to helping the police to lead where she is, including the reward Carla mentioned?
It's hard because like I have siblings, I have sisters. Obviously I have a mom and my sisters have children, and just to know that somebody's like that child is going to grow up not knowing where the mom is because people out there that know what's happening or what has happened aren't speaking up. It bothers me. And on Twitter, you only see where's Chavelle. That's all you ever see. You just see where's Chavelle. Chavelle's still missing. And I don't understand, in such a small community, we can't find this person. It's scary that in such a small island, like I grew up in a neighborhood in Somerset, so I grew up Spring Benny, and my mom would whistle every night for us to come home. And if we weren't home by a certain time, she was able to call around the neighborhood and say, "Hi, can you let my girls know that there's time to come home?" Or people will call wherever we were and say, "Hi, there's Lambert girls there. We just heard the mom whistle, send them home." So I don't understand where did we go wrong that this woman was able to just vanish, and for 7 months and nothing.
Yeah.
Well, we can't negate the fact that it was an opportune time for whomever was responsible for her disappearance, and as the police have said, her murder. Let's call it what it is, okay? Yeah. Because it was a pandemic. It was lockdown. Now, I don't know about you. I mean, look at us as a group. If the Daily Hour, we talk virtually every day. And I think if one of us didn't speak to one of us in a day or so, we'd be wondering where each other were. So that to me is the sad part as well, because to me, I hear abuse. Because if people were used to her being isolated or her being disconnected, because I could not talk to one of you all for 2-3 days, much less 2 weeks or however long, and not worry. So, Jackie, I know what you said just now about what went wrong. I mean, you have Rudy Smith that's been missing for years. You have Chris Smith that's been missing. But I think the pandemic definitely played a role in it, which to me makes it even more sinister. I said on Friday, like I really got a headache after the show because it bothers me. And it's been bothering me for a while in regards to this young lady. The only good thing in this, if there could be a good thing, is that her baby is so young that he won't be mentally affected from memories of mommy and then mommy's gone. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the only slight positive I see in it, because in fact, if he was 18 months when she went missing, his birthday is probably coming up soon. But I don't get how people can look at her baby and interact with her baby and not feel an ounce of something.
Well, I think that's where I bring the question to the audience as well as you guys is, has Bermuda always been a place, a culture of silence, or did we develop this recently over time? You know, you look at the murders that have taken place, and we always speak about how Bermuda is such a small place. How can't we solve a murder? We've done Sons of Paradise, and you see the amount of cases from Shonda Jones to Kimwandi Robinson, and you mentioned 2 other missing cases along with Chavelle. How did we become a small community that was once, when I was very young, left our doors open and neighbors were as much as family? How did we become? Has it always been that way and I was oblivious to it, or have we become a society that we mind our business when it's convenient?
I think people are afraid. I really do. I think people are afraid because they feel if someone can do this crime to someone, imagine what they can do to me. But on the flip side, and you know what? It's cultural because even out here in the UK, it's called a grass. If you tell on someone you're a grass. In Bermuda, you're a snitch. In America, you're a snitch. But I think people need to grow some kahunas because nobody's gonna tell me. I don't know how people even live with themselves doing this to, we're going to talk about her specifically, to her. How can you walk along the streets and feel no way? You are a special kind of evil. But people need to grow some balls and stand up and say, you know what? I saw this, and this on this day because any little clue can perhaps be a significant clue in what's happened to this young lady. It just angers me. And then people want to blame the police. What can the police do? And I'm not the advocate of the police service, never worked for them, none of that. But what can the police do if people know stuff and won't come forward?
Bobby Singh says Chavelle's story needs to be on the news and social media daily. The government needs to chime in as well. This case should be alarming and worrisome to everyone in Bermuda. The fact that no one has been motivated by 50,000 reward makes me think anyone who knows something is an accomplice to the crime. I want to, and on that note about the media, the first part is, I know a Bermudian gentleman had reached out to Unsolved Mysteries on Twitter, and this is community at work. This is community at work because I know I asked the question about when did we become a culture of silence and not speaking up, but we have to give young people in Bermuda and Twitter especially a lot of credit because it's them that puts the pressure on to get a lot of things done. They've put the pressure on regarding the recent 48-hour appointment in the Senate. And they've recently, this gentleman has put pressure on by trying to get help and find Chavelle Dillon-Burgess by reaching out to Unsolved Mysteries. And I'd like to connect with him to see how that's going, but they've responded to him on Twitter. But it's not always about if you have something, say something. Even if you just have an interest in a better community or society, just think of some ways that you may be able to contribute. Simple things like that, keeping the conversation going. There's been a lot of young people on Twitter, especially the young Bermudian ladies that have been, it's been 6 months, Chavelle's still missing. Keeping her name alive. That's what we need to do. We've spoken on this show often about how I've watched cases on Dateline in 2020, for instance, and one of the things that certain family members have done once when they believe someone's been guilty of harming the relatives, if they surrounded their house, they've made them feel uncomfortable. I'm not saying harass anyone by any means, but if you can legally make someone uncomfortable because you believe that they've been involved in an egregious act, then it's within your rights to do so as long as it doesn't break a law. But the pressure needs to be put on. And as I stated, when we created this show is not about Carla, Jackie, myself. This show is about all of you. It's about the community and the society overall. And it's our responsibility that we're taking on to ensure that we don't let people like Chavelle, Chris Smith, or Rudy Smith be forgotten. So go ahead, sorry.
Yeah.
The other thing that we tend to do, and I'm saying as a collective, we as a community, if you know that I robbed the bank, for example, you'll still smile if I'm smile in my face and wave at me. Now you need to turn your back on me because you don't condone that sort of behavior. So that's another issue I have. If I was to see someone that I felt was affiliated with a heinous crime, especially towards a woman, you can't speak to me anymore. You can't talk to me. I'm gonna look you up and down and cut my eyes and turn my head. And so you know that I feel that you did it. We grin and smile and be all politically correct. Now you talk about making them uncomfortable, make them uncomfortable. Make whomever uncomfortable. And if someone has stepped into Chavelle's shoes, take it however way you want to, poor feel you as well. So yes, I said it.
So let me take it a step. So we mentioned, someone mentioned, if someone makes me think anyone who knows something is an accomplice to the crime. So let's have this conversation on the Daily Hour.
I said that Friday. I
If
totally agree, Bobby.
if your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, someone you have a great relationship with has committed or allegedly committed an egregious act, you get information that this has happened. Do you go to the authorities or do you protect your sibling? Do you protect your loved one?
Where's the beeper? Because I'm going to beat that first. No, seriously, I'm going to beat your tail first. Mm-hmm. Why would you put yourself in that situation, and why are you going to put our family in that situation? Why?
Mm.
If it's an act like this, there were multiple times that you occasions that you could have gotten out of it, but you went and you did something like this. You are no longer my family. Nah, you didn't think about nobody else. That's evil, and I'm not related to that. Sorry, no.
You sound like my daughter, Jackie, because that's been a conversation in our house for the last few days. And who told me go and watch the American Murder thing on Netflix, which didn't help. I mean, I followed it anyway, but then to see the story pieced together blew my mind, and it reminded me of Chavelle. But my daughter was like, I don't do unconditional love. Like, I have 2 sons. She's like, if my brothers was ever to do something like this and I knew about it, the cut, they mean nothing to me. I can't see in this case with Chavelle how anyone can smile up in the face of someone who is suspected. And all the dots, 1 + 1 always equals 2, you know, no matter what language it is. And you're going to sit up there and defend them. How do these people sleep at night?
I don't know. I need to know because I don't get any sleep. I didn't get no sleep last night thinking about this shit because I'm just sitting here like, if my sister went missing, and I talk to my family all day, every day. My mom doesn't answer her phone when I just finished talking to her 15 minutes ago. I call my sisters. You with mama? Mama's not answering her phone. Okay, cool. I'm got time. I'm riding around looking for my mom. Like, I know you guys said it was during a pandemic, but you have technology that allows you to be in contact with somebody 24/7. And I'm sorry, I would have broken the law. I would have rode around Bermuda looking for him. And what's going to happen? You're going to arrest me, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you the reason why I am breaking curfew or whatever it is because I can't find my friend. And I know that she's in a disgusting situation, and I am scared. And I'm going to go look for her. Either you join me and you help me find her, or you let me go about my way and play my Indiana Jones and find my friend. It's really that simple. So the other thing is that maybe I'm just not wrapped too tight because I'm going to knock on every door until I find her. And we're just going to play that game.
And no disrespect to anyone.
No.
But here's a little problem I have, though. Bermuda is so about the Fed. So if you remember, it was, I wrote it down somewhere in April. I want to say May 6th when they did the search for her. Has any other searches been done since? It's like it was all hype in the moment. And for me, yes, keep her memory alive. But simply tweeting, oh, where's Chavelle, to me is not enough. Because let's be for real, the likelihood seems like it gets slimmer and slimmer every day, but somebody knows something. So I think the focus should be on putting pressure on whoever knows something, and unfortunately accept that it's going to be a dismal ending in regards to her. I pray her family and loved ones can get some sort of closure, i.e. the discovery of her remains or whatever the case may be. But switch gears and put your knee on your neck on the person who is perhaps affiliated with it.
I'm going to disagree with you a bit about the Twitter thing, because I get what you're saying. More needs to be done, but people could be saying that about the Daily Hour conversation right now. I mean, we're talking about it, but is it really doing anything? What it does do is it lets the person who's probably a culprit of doing something, letting them know that people have not forgotten, and people are still discussing it, so it is still in their mind. So
no, I mean in addition to Jamal. I don't mean that's not serving a
well,
purpose.
no, I'm going to address that part as well, because I think what you said just now, the only reason I get it, but I disagree, because one of the things I don't want to get into is thinking I don't know what's happened. We know that what's been happened when people put it on social media, but I don't use social media as my barometer to know whether there's other searches that have happened. So I just want to kind of add some clarity to that in terms of I believe there's been other searches done. They probably just have not been on social media. That's the only point I'm making. In regards to there is a few comments I want to get to. Asker Earl Trott says, "No, it has always been like this. We have acquired a sense of it's not my business." I know the Bermuda that I grew up in, if it was always somebody's business, and to me, it still is people's business when it's convenient and for something they want to say. Carla,
sure, I'm gotta come closer because I'm only feeling that small. It seems more speculative from the police that others know what happened to Miss Dillon. It seems that the police do not know what happened to her other than she's missing. They've said she has been murdered, but what evidence do they have to confirm that? If someone knows what happened or where Miss Dillon is, $50,000 has not made them talk. Bermuda is supposed to be a wealthy country, then up the reward money. Respectfully, I respectfully disagree for the simple fact, and it can't get much clearer than what Bobby said earlier. I said it on Friday. If no one's coming, 50 grand is not a little sniffy bucket. Even if you're rich, it's 50 grand. To me, it means that someone definitely knows, and it might just be one or two people who's keeping it close to their chest. So if no one's coming forward for 50 grand, that means that somebody knows.
50 grand? Some people don't even make 50 grand in a year. You're telling me I could do it by telling a secret? I'm not saying like I don't know anything, because I would have that reward would have been going.
Yeah. I would love to read this person's next comment, but it's just too long. It's covering up the face. So if you can break up your comments, keep them short, that would be helpful. This is why we don't do phone calls. People will go on forever. Charles, Carla.
I couldn't live with myself knowing that my relative harmed someone else and they're not paying the price for it. To be clear, it's because I love my relative that I wouldn't rat them out. To be clear, it's because I love my relative that I wouldn't rat them out.
Jackie, Charles.
I wouldn't even. Sorry. People that pick people who are isolated as their victims because they know there will be no blowback. Yes, we've all watched Lifetime movies. We know how it goes. And even if you are a social person, they start to break that down. It's all the other little abuse tactics, silent treatment. I can't believe you're talking to that person over me. And then so you can even take somebody like me and then try and isolate me. But
they'd fail.
Don't try it. Don't try it. It won't work.
It seems so calculated. It seems blatantly calculated to use this lockdown time as an opportune. How she just disappeared. She decided to disappear during lockdown. She loved her son. Now I'm going to talk with my mama hat on. She loved her son. There was no doubt about it. Wouldn't lockdown give you time to love on your child even more? Not just abandon it?
No, seriously. I'm obsessed with my nieces and nephews. I can't get enough of the children in my life. Like, I just love them. And then you're telling me that I'm just going to walk away. I carried this child all this time and I'm just going to walk away.
So my question to the audience at this point, as we get closer to the conclusion, is what do we have to do to get the answers that we seek? What aren't we doing right now that we need to do to get the answers that her family deserves, that our community deserves, and especially her son? What do we have to do? I mean, again, we don't know all that. Police investigations, they're not going to tell us everything. I get that. I don't know if anyone has direct contact with the people who were putting on the searches? Is there something that additionally that can be done? But what can be done at this point? Charles, Carla.
Many expressed the noble sentiment that they would give up a family member who broke the law, but when actually staring at your son, mother, etc., and faced with sending them to jail, most people just cannot and will not do it.
Interesting. And I think it's one of those things where I often say, I try not to say like, oh, if it was me, I would have did it. I really try not to deal in hypotheticals, because I agree with Mr. Richards. Charles is right. Like it's very easy to say this when you're not in that position, but then you're thinking about, hold on, my son, my sister is facing 25, 30 years to life. Never ever gonna see him without going to visit him. Like their selfish thoughts start to creep in, and you're not thinking of what's right anymore. You're thinking what's right for you and your family. No, I've never been in that position, folks. I'm just literally saying that, that's probably what can happen. So I definitely can understand his point. Jennifer Butterfield, can one be charged for murder when the body has not been found? Well, Jennifer, I know in many places in this world, especially in the US, it happens all the time. I'm not sure if there's been a case in Bermuda. I can't, maybe someone out there with knowledge of this can help, but yes, it has happened and can happen if they can find enough physical evidence that can prove that a murder's taken place. Then yes, murder can be. I remember there was a time when people would say that you couldn't convict a person of murder if you couldn't find a weapon, but things have changed with technology and forensics over the years. Sorry, Carla.
There are people protecting rapists and murderers on the island. Entire families and friends say nothing. Chavelle sadly has become a victim of something that is too common in our community.
Absolutely. Bobby, Jackie.
It must be community pressure. If we can force a minister to resign, why can't we put the same energy into finding Chavelle?
Indeed. I agree. And that's why I said I have nothing but respect for, people complain about young people on social media. I see so many young Bermudians using Twitter, especially, for so much good, right? I know the Facebook aunties might not know, they're not familiar with Twitter like that, but on a serious note, there's some young Bermudians doing the work on behalf of their country. So, let's keep that pressure up. Saeed Darrell says, do you think the only person who know anything is the person who did it? That's why no one came forward for the 50,000. Well, as I think Carla touched on this earlier, that no, not Carla, Bobby Singh touched on it, that, if someone knows and it's not coming forward for 50,000, maybe they're an accomplice. So it's so much to it. Let's go through a few more comments before we wrap up. Like I said, folks, I mean, we need to change the cultural conversation. There's something we can do to bring justice in this case, and we'll use this platform while we have it to ensure that we are effective in doing that. Kenny Monkman says we need to bring a sense of community to where we live, looking out for and caring for our neighbors. Nikki Hartman says the family members need to realize that if they've done it once, they can do it again, especially if they feel they've easily gotten away with it and have protection of friends and family. Let me touch on that. So I remember speaking with a police officer many years ago, and police officer got me to understand something. You know how these guys got caught smuggling drugs at the airport? I just never understood how stupid could you be, right? And they said, well, you got to remember, most people who get caught doing that is not their first time. And to her point of when people get away with something and they think it's easy, they're likely to do it again. So if I was someone who's a relative or knows that this person's done this, who's to say that they may not get angry enough and do it to you? Let's be honest. Getting away with something like this? Go ahead, Jackie.
Sorry, it actually brought me back to something I was going to say earlier to Charles Richards when he was saying family members. Maybe I watch too many slasher movies, because You know how you got Halloween, Michael Myers, and Jason, and all that stuff. Their mothers should have gotten them locked up from a young age, okay? When you're killing chickens and rabbits, and then it turns into foxes, and it turns like it's progressive, right? So we need to start putting our family members behind bars to make the community safer. Because today, your friend didn't put away their brother, and now that brother is coming after you. So stop thinking we're protecting him, and make sure you protect the rest of the community that has nothing to do with it. That's your family member. It's your responsibility if you know something's happened.
Indeed.
Do better.
Miriam,
anyway, go ahead.
Maybe I'm different, but I don't see me keeping quiet. This is an awful thing, and I would want someone to speak up for my family. Bobby Singh says, this don't ask, don't tell mentality has got to stop. It's the same in the Indian culture, and it's sickening. I would agree. And Deborah Leah Joel Bell says, yes, it would scare me that they may easily turn on you who is helping to cover up that crime. Look, it's a sad situation. My hope is that we can continue having conversations until we get the solutions that our community and her family seek. On that note, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to wrap it up with the daily play, and then Carla's going to give us some inspiration. Thank you so much to everyone who continues to tune in and support us.
Enter the doors of Ileana's. You'll be captivated by the warm, intimate setting, greeted by professional staff to cater to your every need. Appetizer, main course, dessert. You will experience dining at its best. Ileana's, inviting, intimate, satisfying. That's Ileana's, located at 106 Southside Road, St. David's. Call today for your reservation at 777-0555. Ileana's, where dining is more than an encounter, it's an experience.
All right, welcome back to the Daily Hour. Carla Zul, Jackie Lambert, myself, Jamel Hartman. Thanks again to Linda's Medical House, and as you see, Pete's House, Eliana's, our friends down there. If you've never been to Eliana's, you need to get there. But we're gonna start treating some of you all. We're gonna Jackie, you're single still? Answer.
Yeah, but
okay.
This is one way to broadcast it.
Look, you know, we family. I mean, the audience is family. So look, we're gonna hopefully have Shari and Jackie take some of you lucky viewers to dinner at Eliana's one day. They have lobster if you all like lobster. So stay tuned. It's okay if Jackie and Shari aren't single as well. They can take you with the significant others. But we're going to be treating you all coming up to some dinner down there. So stay tuned. Make sure you continue to tune in and download the apps and follow us and engage and all that stuff, so we can make it happen for you. Look, see how I put people on the spot. So look, let's. I just want to say on Chavelle Dillon-Burgess, channel 82, where you can watch this show as well. There is a conversation with Media Maya and Detective Jason Smith coming up on channel 82 following this show. So make sure you tune into that for more information. Here's the daily play. Famous quote. Very easy, folks. This is too easy for you guys. Jackie, stop Googling. You're Googling the answer already, and I didn't even give you the quote. All right, here we go. This is going to give it away, but here we go. Acting is just a way of making a living. Family is life. And
I want to say Denzel Washington, but I knew it would be wrong.
I thought it was easy.
All right.
I wanted to say it too, but I'm like, I feel like we say him every week.
That's why I did it, because I'm like, scream and shout Denzel.
I was sitting there like, do I say it? And then Carlos was like, Denzel. I'm like, whoop, we say it.
All the time. I said, they over here shouting Denzel. Let's give him a Denzel one.
You know what's funny? Let me tell you funny. So I'm sitting there brushing my teeth this morning. I'm like, I wonder who Jamal's going to choose today, right? And I was just like, watch him choose somebody like Denzel Washington, because we're always saying it. And what happens? You know what? I think I'm a psychic.
Uh-oh. All right. Okay, if that's the case.
No. We're not going to do another one.
Okay. Never mind. She could have helped you.
Denzel Washington.
That's like a They're a bit delayed. They are a bit delayed. But folks, don't forget, like I said, the conversation on Channel 82 with Media Maya and Detective Jason Smith will be coming up immediately following the Daily Hour this morning. Also, don't forget to share conversations like this. We encourage you to share, retweet, and start watch parties when we have these conversations. We do have Dr. Lou Matthews. We're talking education tomorrow, which is another extremely important conversation, especially with the newly elected government focused on education and moving to a new system. So we're going to be talking about that. And Lamerne Woods from Crimson Multimedia, Channel 82, joining us on Wednesday. We'll be speaking about the power of Black media. So that's another important conversation. Black media, our narratives, it's so important. Carla, what you got for inspiration?
Success seems to be connected with action. Successful people keep moving. They make mistakes, but they don't quit. Conrad Hilton.
That's the guy that owns the Hiltons and the Conrad. Well, obviously Conrad Hilton. So Paris Hilton's grandfather or great grandfather? Grandfather. Okay, yes. Yeah, that I would agree. You need to put the work in. Jackie, any final thoughts before we leave the conversation on Chavelle Dillon-Burgess today? If we could hear you, it would be great, Jackie.
Sorry, I didn't want our mascot distracting us. He was distracting me today. But keep the flame lit so we can get some answers, please. We have a horrible habit of just letting things die off, and when the next thing is on and popping. So let's make sure that she stays the topic of discussion always.
Indeed. Carla, what you got for us?
Let's continue to be kind to each other, be gentle with one another, and respect each other.
Indeed. I'm thankful, I'm grateful to do this show with all of you and appreciate what you bring from your different perspectives on topics like this. We definitely, I used to say it's not our responsibility, but we've taken on the responsibility to ensure that whatever we discuss, our community can benefit from. And I truly hope that people do come and believe that we can have conversations that can improve their well-being. That said, if you know someone that you think may know something, talk with them. Encourage them to do the right thing. Let your conscience be your guide in all you do in life, especially in a situation like this. There are families hurting. There are friends, colleagues. There are people that just want answers to what's going on here. It's so easy to say, what are the police doing? Or why haven't they done this? Or why haven't they done that? But the truth is, we have a job to do as a community, as citizens of a country. We speak about the right to vote and going out to vote. It's also our right to make sure that our community is a safe place for everyone to prosper. So I really do hope that we can continue these conversations, not just about Chavelle, but for everyone, every family that is going through something like this. I really hope that the conversations can lead to the answers that we seek. On that note, I will let you go. We appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. Oops, I have to hit outro.
Oh, we're still here?
Yep, we're still here. I have to hit the outro, don't I?
Thanks for tuning in to The Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House. All recorded episodes and highlights can be found at thedailyhour.com. Stay connected with us by following us at The Daily Hour on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.